Welcome to Future Consideration, SB Nation's weekly NFL draft show. That's Dan Rubenstein. He watches a lot of college football.
That is Matt Ufford. He is our NFL guy.
Guilty. And together we combine our worlds of knowledge to make sense of the NFL draft. Starting things off, we're going to break down Mocking the Draft's mock draft.
Yes.
Number 1 overall, they've got Teddy Bridgewater, Greg Robinson to the Rams, Jadeveon Clowney to the Jags, 4 and 5, Manziel and Bortles.
I don't have huge problems here. We've talked about Bridgewater being our number 1 quarterback in this draft, so if Houston can grab the best quarterback, at least according to our brilliant minds, hard to argue there. Greg Robinson, we've talked about the Rams' needs on the offensive line.
Yes.
Love that. Manziel to Cleveland, if we're still believing nothing's changed since the college season.
The Browns still need a quarterback.
They still need a quarterback, and Blake Bortles, it feels like a very Oakland pick, physically ready to play the position and throws the ball far.
And of course, Jadeveon Clowney going to a defensive-minded coach like Gus Bradley, the Jaguars. Great fit, love it.
Yeah, if they can get the best player in the draft at 3, big win for Jacksonville.
That's our top 5. Let's bounce around a little bit. Let's talk about Anthony Barr to the Vikings.
Complete void of talent at the linebacker position, like we mentioned a little while ago. I like him a lot. It's still a little bit raw, but the fact that he can get to the quarterback and get to the quarterback quickly is a huge boon for a division with a lot of quarterbacks.
I found the Justin Gilbert to the Steelers a little bit curious.
Okay.
In this draft, they had Calvin Pryor still available. I think safety's a much bigger need for the Steelers. If HaHa Clinton-Dix or Calvin Pryor's available to the Steelers at 15, I think they're taking one of them.
Especially with how the versatility that the Steelers use the safety in that defense to grab a big safety there would be a big win there. Coney Ealy, 20 to Arizona, an Arizona defense that was very, very good this past season.
Yeah, I don't think that they have a huge need at defensive end compared to the holes on their offensive line.
Right.
But Ealy at 20 is a steal. I think he's one of the best and most pro-ready pass rushers in the draft.
Yeah, raw athleticism off the charts. So yeah, if you can load up along the defensive line, especially in that division with good offensive lines, that's not a bad thing either. Let's drop down a little bit. New Orleans and Taylor Lewan. I don't think he's going to fall this far. But if New Orleans, who has great interior line play on the offensive line, can get a great tackle, we're going to discuss this later, that's huge.
Yeah, if you're the Saints, you have to protect Drew Brees. That's the whole point of your offense.
He is your guy. He is your golden goose.
Yes.
Protect Drew Brees. Brandin Cooks to the Broncos.
Very curious pick here. I don't think that that's really going to happen. Even if Eric Decker leaves, the Broncos still have an array of weapons and bigger needs on defense.
Bigger needs on defense, but again, Peyton Manning, 1 more year. That his neck has checked out, so you got to give him, you got to arm him with the weapons. They set records with all those receivers. I guess they could do it again.
True.
And finally, your Seattle. There's the bobble. Your Seattle Seahawks.
Russell Wilson here.
Grabbing a position of need in Jay Samara.
It is, especially if you're assuming that they cut Zach Miller, likely a cap casualty.
Right.
I love it as a Seahawks fan.
Right.
I don't think it will happen.
Realistically speaking,
this is a team with needs on the offensive line, and Pete Carroll, that's a coach who loves to restock on defense.
Right.
And I think that they're just going to do something unsexy that makes the defense, continue to be amazing.
He's smartly an inside-out guy.
Yeah.
Build the defensive line, build the offensive line out, and he won a Super Bowl doing it.
So let's not question his methods.
Seems right to me.
That's our review of Mocking the Draft's weekly mock draft. Let us know what you think. Let us know what's right, what's wrong.
Ooh, do that.
Who you like. Up next, we've got your top 5 wide receivers. Deep position in this draft.
It's huge. It's going to be a really fun one. A lot of people are going to get a lot of speed and a lot of talent on the outside. Sammy Watkins is the clear number 1.
Yeah, people are talking about a top 10 receiver, top 10 pick in the draft.
Yes, absolutely. No, he has that talent. The speed is off the charts. The hands are terrific. His route running is great. You can't really criticizing him without it being just a deep nitpick. He is the clear-cut
Being compared to Julio Jones and A.J. Green. Nice guys.
He's a generational guy. He's like a once in every 4 or 5 year type. So that's great. Mike Evans, who is sort of the physical anomaly.
I love Mike Evans.
He's real fun.
People talk about Johnny Football. That his phenomenon at Texas A&M was largely the result of Mike Evans being a huge and able to catch everything.
Yeah, he's basically an aggressive power forward. Great in the blocking, great just going vertical, winning jump balls.
Long arms, strong hands.
Absolutely, no. And he, not top end speed after the catch, but for his size, ridiculous.
Tough guy to bring down.
Absolutely. Next, Brandin Cooks. He's a little bit different here on our board than I think a lot of people's boards, and maybe a little bit higher, but I think he's good enough to be top 20. That speed kills. And he is so fast and he's so comfortable with his speed. He's so fluid. He catches the ball. He led college football in receiving last year. Brandin Cooks is going to make somebody really happy, particularly if they put him in the slot right away.
All right. What about Marquise Lee, number 4 at USC?
Probably 2 years ago, we would have thought, oh, he's the #1 receiver in this draft. He's a little bit better than Watkins. A little bit of an injury nagging situation. His hands were a bit inconsistent this past year as the offense transitioned, thankfully, away from Lane Kiffin. Thankfully. But amazing speed, great in the return game, just phenomenal field vision, awareness, all of the things you want. He will end up making a team very happy by the fact that he'll fall probably to like 17, 20, somewhere in there.
And number 5 on the list, man who caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship, Kelvin Benjamin, Florida State.
Fantastic. A lot like Mike Evans in that he shouldn't be as fast as he is at that size. Tall target, ridiculous after the catch, stronger than you think he might be. Not as polished as some of these other guys in terms of route running, but just he's going to be a fantastic deal for somebody lower half of the first round.
I feel like every wide receiver who's 20 years old, 21 years old, going into the draft, you can say he can improve his route running. And like they're young guys, they will get better in the pros.
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins, probably there's not a ton of improvement there. He's just that good. But yeah, Kelvin Benjamin, he just basically needs to become an NFL receiver. There's no way he could have been an NFL receiver without actually playing against NFL corners. I like him a lot. He's going to make a good team better.
All right. Those are your top 5 wide receivers in this year's NFL draft, according to Dan Rubenstein, who's always right.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's move on.
Yes.
NFC South team needs this week.
This is a weird division.
Yeah.
Huge offense, huge defense, and 2, like...
Yeah, Carolina, New Orleans were head and shoulders above most of the NFC last year. And then Atlanta and Tampa, not so much.
Let's start with Carolina, the team that had the big defense last year. Where do they need to go?
The glaring need here is wide receiver.
Yes.
Where you've got Brandon LaFell and Ted Ginn. Not exactly.
You don't imagine Brandon LaFell like the Super Bowl trophy, Lombardi.
They're free agents, and they can probably be retained on the relative cheap because they're not that great. And then Steve Smith, who there's talk of him being a cap casualty, $7 million against the cap.
Right.
He's 35. He's going to be 35 years old.
Sure.
And by the way, the leading wide receiver on the team had a whopping 745 yards last year.
Yeah, you had to check because it was so unfortunately low.
I'm like, that looks low. It is low. Yeah. And Greg Olsen led the team in receiving, just over 800 yards.
Right.
They need a real wide receiver.
Absolutely do. What else do they need?
How about offensive line? Jordan Gross just retired. They've got basically every position but center on the line. They either have a hole or need to upgrade.
Yeah, and as big as Cam Newton is, protect him as much as you possibly can. He is your future dude.
And worth mentioning too, defensive backs, they're going to get Charles Godfrey back this year from injury, but of their top 5 DBs who played 500 snaps or more, 4 of them are free agents.
Yeah.
Go ahead and restock through the draft.
Build depth at the place where you need to beat New Orleans.
That was the one hole in the defense last year. Front 7 set.
Yes, New Orleans.
New Orleans, offensive tackle, I'd say, would be the left tackle. They never really found, since Jermon Bushrod left after last season, they plugged in Charles Brown. He got benched, and he's also a free agent.
Not ideal.
So I think left tackle would be a great fit for them.
Taylor LeWan pick during the Mocking the Draft segment.
Makes a ton of sense.
There it is.
And then defensive back, Kenny Vaccaro, Keenan Lewis, give you one good cornerback, a very good safety who had a broken ankle. He's been coming back from that.
They can't play 4 positions.
But they need another safety, another cornerback. Roman Harper and Jabari Greer got cut, and Malcolm Jenkins is a free agent. And
as bad as some other teams are in the division, building up the secondary there, you got great receivers in Atlanta, great receivers in Tampa. Just play.
And also that defense, Rob Ryan's defense, there's a ton of blitzing.
Sure.
You need versatile and capable
guys that
secondary.
can play on an island. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. All right, Atlanta. Everything!
Yeah, this is a team that was not very deep last year, and a couple injuries just sank their entire season. Biggest problems is the defensive line. Second worst in the league in sacks, second worst against the run. O.C. Umenyiora, bust of a free agent signing. They need trading up for Jadeveon Clowney would be amazing for them.
They need to call Pete Carroll before their picks. Like, we need offensive and defensive line questions.
And then, yes, of course, offensive line. As I went to AtlantaFalcons.com, looked at the depth chart. Horrifying.
It's just a tumbleweed.
It's
rolling across the screen.
They have nothing between center and right tackle. They need some depth there.
Tampa made a fantastic move in getting rid of Greg Schiano.
That's really the biggest step up for them because they have a very good defense.
Right. Absolutely.
The pieces are there. They just need some smart coaching.
I'm a little too in love with Levante David.
He's
too in love.
Amazing.
Yes.
Offensive guard. Carl Nix is in MRSA hell right now. Defensive end. They need a pass rusher opposite Adrian Claiborne, especially in Lovie Smith's defense. And I have to wonder, at quarterback. You've got a whole new front office, new coaching staff. Do they love Mike Glennon the same way that Greg Schiano did?
It feels like they do, at least for the short term. It seems, I mean, he'll have Doug Martin back, which will take some of the responsibility away from him. He has the receivers, the defense is good to put them in good field position. They have Glennon for now.
Yeah, maybe next year they'll invest in a new quarterback.
Maybe next year is the Tampa Bay story.
And maybe next week you'll see another episode of Future Consideration. That's it. Dan watches college football.
Matt's our NFL guy.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Mock draft, 1998 to 2004. Your top emo/pop punk band. Number 1, go.
It's got to be Brand New. Brand New means right here. It hits me right here.
That's fantastic.
Jude Law and A Semester Abroad.
Fantastic. Fantastic pick.
What's your number 1?
Oh man, I'm gonna go Get Up Kids. Several great albums. Just a lot of.
That's a pick that is something to write home about.
Yes, it is, sir.
I like that. Get Up Kids are great.
Who's next? Number 3.
I really like Saves the Day. The depth of albums and songs that I like, Sell My Old Clothes, I'm Off to Heaven.
A serious drop-off at around 2003 or 4.
Oh, sure. After Stay What You Are, please. Nothing.
Alkaline Trio. The pride of Chicago.
What's your number 1 album?
Oh, man. I'll take the self-title.
Really? I like Goddamn It a lot.
Maybe I'll Catch Fire is great, too.
Yeah, okay. My next one, I'm going to go a little bit synthy, but they're really good. Nice. They're still putting out good albums. Motion City Soundtrack.
Oh.
I really like them.
I was not expecting
Minneapolis' own.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Let's wrap things up. Just a little bonus.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a pint of ice cream, cry about a breakup, and
I know where you're going with
listen
this.
to Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah.